The NBA draft is one of the most exciting parts of the NBA calendar. Striking gold in the draft can set a team up for future success, while missing on your picks can set your team backwards for years to come. Today's video will be a full first round mock draft, meaning picks 1 through 30. So let's not waste any more time and get right into it. But before we continue, please like the video and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I upload a banger. Now let's get started. With the number 1 pick, the Detroit Pistons select Cade Cunningham. This is an obvious choice for the Pistons. Cade is the can't-miss prospect of this year's draft, and whoever lucked into the first overall pick was undoubtedly going to select Cade no matter what. He brings tremendous size for the point guard position at 6'8" with a 7-foot wingspan. His court vision and decision-making with the rock is way beyond his years, and he's got the ball handling skills and quickness to get to the rim anytime he wants. He's an effective 3-level scorer, able to finish at the rim, but also shoot it well from the mid-range and 3. And lastly, he also uses that size and athleticism to be a menace on the defensive end. The Pistons now have a franchise player that completely changes the trajectory of their team. With the number 2 pick, the Houston Rockets select Jalen Green. Thanks to his freakish athleticism, swag, and killer instinct, Green is an unstoppable scorer. He's able to blow by defenders very easily thanks to his quickness, and he's an amazing above-the-rim finisher thanks to his high vert. It's not uncommon to see Green put a help defender on a poster. And he isn't just a slasher because he can keep the defense honest with his deadly outside game. It's very easy to see Green becoming an all-star level player, similar to Zach LaVine at the next level. Just 6 months after the James Harden trade, the future in Houston looks very bright. With the number 3 pick, the Cavaliers select Evan Mobley. The Cavs have Jarrett Allen, who plays the same position as Mobley, but the Cavs need to take the best player available. Mobley is an athletic 7-foot center with plenty of skills that's rare for a big man his size. On offense, he can handle the ball, shoot, and he has really good passing instincts. And on defense, he's an excellent rebounder and shot blocker thanks to his good timing and long 7'4" wingspan. The Cavs already have a lot of established young talent, but Mobley could be the franchise player that they build around. With the number 4 pick, the Raptors select Jalen Suggs. Suggs is a 6'4" point guard out of Gonzaga with the skill set to be a future all-star. He's a relentless attacker that can get to the rim easily thanks to his quickness and finish through contact. He's also extremely unselfish and willing to find the open man on his drives to the rim. His effort doesn't decline on the less glamorous end of the court, where he's an excellent on-ball defender. Perhaps most importantly, he's a fierce competitor and team leader who played a huge role in Gonzaga getting to the Final Four. The Raptors will need a point guard with Lowry on his way out, which makes Suggs an excellent fit. With the number 5 pick, the Magic select Jonathan Kuminga. Kuminga has all the tools to be a great two-way player at the next level. He brings good size for the small forward position at 6'8" with a 6'11" wingspan, and he's very athletic. Thanks to that athleticism, he's a really good slasher and scorer at the rim. And on the other end of the court, he's an excellent defender that can guard multiple positions thanks to his size and agility. He still needs to develop his outside game, and he could be a bit turnover prone, but for a team like the Magic that just started their rebuild, they should have the patience to allow Kuminga to reach his full potential. With the number 6 pick, the OKC Thunder select Scottie Barnes. Barnes is a very athletic small forward out of Florida State with a good all-around game. He's a pretty good passer where at Florida, he largely played the role as point forward. His handle is solid, which allows him to get to the rim where he's a strong finisher. And thanks to his physical tools at 6'9" with a long 7'2" wingspan, he's a versatile defender. Similar to Kuminga, he really needs to develop his outside game, but his two-way upside is tremendous. The Thunder are still rebuilding. It should be a team that will have the patience to let him develop. With the 7th pick, the Golden State Warriors select Moses Moody. On offense, Moody is an excellent catch-and-shoot player that works really well coming off screens. While he doesn't have an advanced bag, he's someone that can create his own shot pretty well. whether it's a jab step to get off his jumper or a drive to the rim. He also gets after it defensively, where his physical tools at 6'6" with a 7-foot wingspan help him to be an excellent on-ball defender. Moody is a strong 3-and-D player that should be able to contribute to winning basketball right away for the Golden State Warriors. With the 8th pick, the Orlando Magic select Davion Mitchell. I know the Magic already have 4 point guards on the roster signed for next season, but Mitchell is too good a prospect for a rebuilding team like Orlando to pass up on. He's a third-year point guard out of Baylor with an all-star upside in my opinion. He's an explosive guard that can get to the rim with ease thanks to his quickness and handle, and he's got a great layup package which helps him to finish at the rim at a high level. He's a knockdown outside shooter where he shot 45% from 3 last year at Baylor, and he's a true floor general that always looks to make the right play. Lastly, he's a tenacious defender that many scouts believe to be the best on-ball defender in this draft class. Mitchell is a great player for the Magic to add to their rebuild. With the 9th pick, the Kings select Franz Wagner. Wagner is a player that can immediately come in and contribute to wins no matter who he's drafted to. The Kings desperately need defense, and in Wagner, they get one of the better perimeter defenders in this draft class. Wagner is also a good ball handler that can take a shrug to the basket, and he's a very good passer. And while he only shot 34% from 3 last year at Michigan, his smooth-looking release and 83% free throw percentage would suggest that his outside shot will eventually come around. The Kings need a glue guy like this to help them finally break their playoff drought, so Wagner is a pretty good pick. With the 10th pick, the Pelicans select Jalen Johnson out of Duke. Johnson is a very intriguing prospect. At 6'9" with a 6'11" wingspan, he can defend perimeter players really well, while also being useful as a help defender, which should help the Pelicans' 23rd ranked defense. On offense, he can beat defenders off the dribble, and he's an excellent above the rim finisher thanks to his athleticism. He's also a very skilled passer for his position. With his excellent upside as a two-way player, Johnson is a nice player for the Pelicans to add to their rebuild. With the 11th pick, the Hornets select Alperen Sengun out of Turkey. Sengun is our first international prospect, and he dominated the Turkish league at just 18 years old. He's got a big body at 6'10" and 240 pounds, and he uses that size to bully opposing bigs in the post. He's also got good touch around the rim, making him a deadly scorer on hook shots and drop steps. He's got good passing instincts out of the post, and he's a solid shooter from mid-range. On defense, while he doesn't have the agility to slide on the perimeter like a lot of modern bigs, he can at least use his size and length to provide help defense. The Hornets could use a big with Biyombo and Cody Zeller set to be free agents, so he could be their center of the future. With the 12th pick, the Spurs select Kai Jones. Kai Jones is a 6'10" athletic big that does what a modern NBA center needs to do on both ends. He's an excellent rebounder and rim protector on defense, and on offense, he's a great lob target and capable outside shooter. The Spurs have a strong young core, but they could use another big man, making Kai Jones an excellent addition. With the 13th pick, the Pacers select Corey Kispert. The Pacers were on their way to making the playoffs, but injuries ended up spoiling their season. Kispert is someone that they can immediately plug into their lineup, and he can impact winning. He's a knockdown outside shooter that works really well coming off screens. He can also put the ball on the floor, whether it's scoring at the rim or pulling up for a mid-range jumper. If the Pacers lose Duncan McDermott in free agency, Kispert would be the perfect replacement. With the 14th pick, the Warriors select Josh Giddey. Giddey is our second international prospect. He's a 6'8" point guard that played the last year in the NBL. He passes the ball extremely well. Giddey has amazing court vision, and he can see over the defense thanks to his size. He's also a strong ball handler that takes it strong to the hole and can finish. He needs to improve as a shooter and get better on defense, but his upside is really off the chain. He could serve as Steph's backup this year and eventually take the keys once Curry is out of his prime. With the 15th pick, the Wizards select Jared Butler. Butler is a combo guard out of Baylor that does a lot of things well. He's a great shooter where he shot 42% from 3 on 6 attempts a game the past season. He's also a great ball handler that can get to the rim and finish well, and he's also a good playmaker and excellent on-ball defender. He fits the Wizards' team needs as Washington desperately needs defenders and more shooting alongside their star backcourt of Westbrook and Beal. Butler is someone that can be immediately plugged into their lineup and help them get better as a team. With the 16th pick, the OKC Thunder select Keon Johnson. Keon Johnson is a 6'5 shooting guard out of Tennessee. He's arguably the best pure athlete in this draft class. At the draft combine, he set a record by measuring with an insane 48-inch vertical, and he knows how to use that freakish athleticism to get by defenders and rock the rim with highlight reel dunks. His game is still pretty raw, and he needs to improve as a ball handler and shooter, but his upside is way too tantalizing for the rebuilding OKC Thunder to pass on. His talent is unreal, he just needs to grind to make the most of his physical gifts. With the 17th pick, the Grizzlies select Chris Duarte. Duarte is a 6'6" shooting guard out of Oregon. Thanks to his good size and high motor, he's a really solid perimeter defender. He's also good as an off-ball defender where he often gets in the passing lanes for steals and deflections. On the offensive end, he's a very efficient player where he shot 53% from the field and 42% from 3 on the season. Duarte can help the Grizzlies get right back in the playoffs next year as an excellent 3-and-D player off the bench. With the 18th pick, the OKC Thunder select Usman Garuba. Garuba is a 6'8 big out of France. He's undersized, but more than makes up for it with a long 7'3 wingspan and a high motor on the court. He's a great rim protector and versatile enough to defend perimeter players. On offense, he's a good screen setter and finisher, and with potential to hit perimeter shots. He could be a terrific modern big man. OKC could use a center after trading Al Horford and Moses Brown, making this a pretty good pickup. With the 19th pick, the Knicks select Zaire Williams. Zaire is an athletic wing player with good two-way potential. At 6'7" with a 6'10" wingspan, he's a good defender that can guard multiple positions. He's also a strong ball handler that can get to the rim, but struggled mightily with his shooting efficiency in his 1 year at Stanford, which caused his draft stock to take a hit. While his year was a bit underwhelming, the talent to be a great two-way player is clearly there, which is why the Knicks will take him at pick 19. With the 20th pick, the Hawks select James Bouknight. The Hawks are absolutely playing with house money, as most didn't expect them to go on a deep playoff run this year. They already have a pretty deep roster, but Bouknight can help add scoring to their bench. Bouknight is a walking bucket. He's a strong ball handler that can get to the basket very easily or create space for his jumper. He's got other deficiencies in his game, but he should be able to instantly be a double-digit scorer off the bench once he's in the league. This is a solid find for the Hawks in the mid-first round. With the 21st pick, the New York Knicks select Sharife Cooper. He's a very speedy guard that gets to the rim at will, and he's an excellent playmaker that's constantly setting his teammates up for easy baskets. On the downside, he needs to get better as a shooter, and he struggled mightily with his efficiency. He's a player that will require some patience, but he has a high upside if he can improve his weaknesses. The Knicks have been looking for an answer at the point guard position for the longest. Cooper might finally be that answer for the New York Knicks at point guard. With the 22nd pick, the Lakers select Cameron Thomas, a 6'4 shooting guard out of LSU. Thomas is a certified bucket getter that can score on all three levels. He's coming off a season where he averaged an impressive 23 points per game in just his freshman year at LSU. The Lakers often struggle to find offense when LeBron and Anthony Davis weren't in the game, so Thomas can be valuable as a strong second unit bench scorer. With the 23rd pick, the Rockets select Tre Mann, a 6'5 shooting guard out of Florida. Mann can immediately contribute as both a shooter and a scorer to any NBA team. On the year, he shot 40% from 3 on 5 attempts a game. He can use his handle to get all the way to the basket or create space for a jumper, making him a deadly shot creator. The Rockets need to continue adding talented players for their rebuild, so this is a good find at pick 23. With the 24th pick, the Rockets used their second straight first-round pick on Greg Brown, a 6'9" power forward out of Texas. He's a super bouncy athlete that's a really good scorer, both as a cutter and as a lob target. He runs the floor hard, making him a great scorer in transition, and on defense, he tends to get a lot of blocks thanks to his quick leaping ability and good timing. His game is still pretty raw, as he doesn't have much of an offensive game outside of close shots. He needs to get better as a ball handler and shooter, but he clearly has the potential to be a terrific player. This is another good find for the Rockets at the end of the first round. With the 25th pick, the Clippers select Isaiah Jackson. Jackson is a great defensive big. He's only 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan, but he more than makes up for it with athleticism and a high motor on the court. Jackson was one of the best shot blockers in college basketball. He's an amazing defender that can switch onto the perimeter, he's a good finisher at the basket, and a great lob target. But he needs to get stronger and improve as a free throw shooter. The injury to Ibaka exposed how weak the Clippers are at center, so Jackson is a good pick for them at 25. With the 26th pick, the Nuggets select Jaden Springer. Springer is a 6'4" shooting guard out of Tennessee. He can score the ball pretty well on all three levels. He's got a good first step to get to the rim and nice below the rim finishing moves. He's also a knockdown shooter and he really gets after it on defense. The Nuggets could use some more defensive players and some more depth at guard, so Springer could be solid for them off the bench. With the 27th pick, the Nets select Davion Sharpe. The Nets will be championship contenders once they get their big three healthy again, but that doesn't mean that they don't have weaknesses as a team. They could definitely use some more size, especially with Blake Griffin being a free agent, which is why they're taking Sharpe here. Sharpe is a 6'10", 260-pound center out of UNC, who's an excellent rebounder and defender, and a great finisher around the basket. He could potentially be a solid big for the Nets off the bench next year. With the 28th pick, Philly takes Ayo Dosunmu. Ayo is one of the best pure scorers in this draft. He's able to excellently score at all three levels thanks to his unique combination of handles, shooting, and athleticism. He's also a plus on the defensive end, where he's a strong on-ball defender. The Sixers could use some more elite shot creation, especially with Ben Simmons proving to be unreliable in the playoffs. This is a solid find for Philly in the late first round. With the 29th pick, the Suns select Miles McBride. McBride is a small but sturdy point guard that does a lot of things well. He's a good scorer and shooter as he shot 40% from 3 on the year. He's also a good playmaker and pretty strong defender. The Suns have CP3, but they should also look for a long-term answer at point guard, and CP could be a mentor for McBride for the next few years. And finally, with the 30th pick, the Utah Jazz select Trey Murphy III. Trey Murphy is an excellent defender that can also knock down threes at a very high rate. The Jazz were a regular season juggernaut the past year, but their perimeter defense looked extremely suspect in the playoffs. Hopefully, Murphy's 3-and-D skills can help the Jazz go on a deeper playoff run next year. Anyway guys, that's going to be the end of the video. Do you like my picks? Who do you want your team to select in the NBA draft? Tell me in the comments. With the draft not coming until July 29, there will definitely be more draft content, so make sure to like the video and subscribe if you enjoyed this and want to see more of this on this channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.